Hello Aries, welcome back to my channel. If you're a returning subscriber, if you're new, welcome. I hope you enjoy the reading. This will be a general life reading for your sign. In the first house we have the Grand Trine card, which is blessings. So the first house is all about your influence in the world, what you project, your outer persona, how you're making your way in the world, and stepping out. Basically, it also covers your body and your appearance, how you look, and how you project yourself to others, and how you're perceived by others. So with this card appearing in there, it's actually a very nice, very good aspect to have. It's bringing a lot of free flow and a lot of energy to you, so you will be projecting yourself outward very well, and you'll be coming across in a very harmonious and positive manner. Things will just flow. The way you use your body language, how you are, and people are going to respond very well to that. And you might just find that you feel good, you look good, and there's a lot of flow and a lot of harmony there. It's actually a very powerful element to have when you've got Grand Trine. It brings a really powerful influence to you. So just make sure that you're harnessing those feelings of power and influence, and work with your body, go with the flow, look after yourself. The only negative of this really is that you can sometimes be complacent. So where you are projecting yourself outwards in the world, don't let opportunities pass you by because you think, oh well, I'm doing well at the moment, I don't need to necessarily go after that. That's the only thing. It can make you a little bit complacent and a little bit, not lazy, but sort of sitting back, thinking, well, I've got so many things going on, it's all good. I'm just going to cut back a bit. You still need to get out there, you still need to project yourself and make things happen. And that Grand Trine is going to help you tremendously with that. In the second house, you have Gemini. I think this is bringing all the elements of Gemini into this house. The second house is all to do with your income, your finances, what you love, and what you own as well, your property, your environment, to do with your local environment, your neighborhood, and it can bring quite a bit in, but it's all local. But it's to do with property, with land, with what you love and what you own, and your values. So you're being asked to apply the principles of Gemini to all of those areas. I mean, if it's a money issue, if it's your income, you're being asked to apply critical thinking and be quick about applying yourself to any opportunities that might be coming in, to look at your finances, your daily finances, and allocate them correctly. Don't overspend. Don't be apply yourself to have structure and actually give yourself opportunities to actually manage your finances correctly. And also it could be a values issue. Keep it light, keep it airy, and critical thinking, and quickness. That's Gemini. Gemini's wonderful with anything to do with media. So if you're getting an opportunity to do something to do with that, they communicate really well. Communication is their forte. So when it comes to any of those areas, your finances, your values, perhaps projecting your values out or following your values, it must be direct and light and quick, to follow up on opportunities, but also to apply Mercury, the mind. Mercury rules Gemini, so apply your mind to what it is that's coming to you and how you're going to manifest that and how you're going to use your resources, and make sure that your values are aligned with what you really feel inside. Then we move on to the third house. We've got Venus, which is the planet of love in there. Your third house is your communication house. So if you are involved with a partner or with any kind of relationships, really, this is going to bring a lot of love into your communication. So either you're going to be on the receiving end of that, where you're actually going to be receiving beautiful love messages, or just having loving communication with your significant other, or with your relationship, your other relationships, or even with your siblings. Just a very loving phase that you'll be in. It could also be that you are needing to project that outwards into all your forms of communication. This can be written, verbal, any kind of social media, talking to one another, talking to a wider audience. This also can be short trips, so smaller journeys. So you may be going to somewhere that you've loved to go, or somewhere you would love to go. It could bring in that, but it will be something that you're going to enjoy tremendously. Venus also governs money, and it can bring windfalls to you, and it can also bring the love of beauty to you. So you might be going to you might be enjoying all kinds of enjoyable outings, or it could also be beauty in itself, perhaps art exhibitions or something like that. But it really brings in the love element to your third house, which is all about communication, getting out there, being seen, and whether it's written or verbal, however, it could even be body language. But if you are in a significant relationship, and I feel relationship is coming up very strongly in the chart, just make sure that you're putting as much love into it as you possibly can. And you will possibly be on the receiving end of that, because what you project outwards is going to be reflected back to you as well. So it's very important to be in a loving vibration, and to embody the energies of Venus. Venus is beautiful, love, the love of beautiful things, and also money. You might even receive a windfall via this house. This house also covers contracts, legal contracts, any form of written communication. So just make sure that you're embodying the best concepts and the best energies of Venus. Then in your fourth house we have Sun and Spirit, and this is a very nice, very warm, very energetic aspect to be having in your fourth house. Your fourth house is all to do with your home, and also your family and your roots and your foundation. So there's going to be warmth, and you're going to be putting your essence into your home. So if you're going to be changing things around, just harness all your fieriness into that, and make sure it reflects how you feel internally, your spirit, your typical Aries nature. But it's a lovely, very happy element. The Sun is a very warm, very light generating card element to have in that house. So there's going to be warmth, there's going to be growth, and you're going to be feeling good in that particular sphere of your life. And if you are changing something, then make sure you're bringing your spirit into it to actually liven things up, to actually lift the energies in your home. And if you're changing home, it's a very good element to have. If you're looking at a new home, make sure that you're going for a sunny, bright home, something that's going to bring you happiness, and where you're going to feel good. Your spirit must feel nurtured where you live, and so it must be your castle. And this is a very good aspect to be having in that. Then in the fifth house we have Mercury retrograde, which is the card of reinvention, and this is when Mercury goes retrograde, it appears to be going backwards in the sky. And so what it actually embodies really in the end is to re-look at everything that this house is bringing up for you. So the fifth house is always to do with creativity, love affairs, children. It's all forms of recreation, sport, and gambling, if that's an enjoyable thing for you. But it's a very outgoing card, and with Mercury retrograde and reinvention in there, basically in one of those areas you're going to need to reinvent yourself. So whether it's in your creative side, you need to re-look at what you have been doing. What worked for you before may not work now. You need to actually look at it and repackage it, reformulate it, come up with new ways to express yourself. If it's to do with your children, if your children are coming up, or you're in contact with children in a close way, then they may be reinventing themselves. They may be going through a period of reinvention. And if it's to do with a love affair, again, I feel there is a relationship which is very strongly focused in your chart. It's appearing in your third house, which is your relationship house. It's appearing elsewhere, and it's coming up in your house of love affairs as well. So whatever it is, if it's a love affair, then you're going to need to reinvent it. So the form that it was in before, whatever it took, however it felt for you, needs to be reinvented. So something may have occurred, and now you've got to look at it again, and you've got to start again, and you've got to move in a new direction with your significant other. And with the fifth house, if you're in a relationship, you go from the fifth house, the next stage is the seventh house. This is the deeper commitment between you. The fifth house is the lighter, flirtier, having fun, love affairs. It's more like the honeymoon phase of a relationship. So it needs to be reinvented. It needs to be looked at, whether it's in communication with the partner, but it needs to be reinvented, and the whole thing looked at and moved forward in a different direction. And if it's to do with sport and recreation, whatever, having fun, whatever that is, again, whatever has worked for you before needs to be looked at and reinvented. Then we've got the sixth house, which is got Virgo, I analyze in it. And this is all to do with work, projects that you're working on, your routines, your colleagues and your workplace. It's also to do with health, and it's also to do with pets. So any one of those areas could be coming up for you. And Virgo sitting in there is very analytical sign, very earthy sign, but it's analytical. It looks at everything. Virgos look at everything in great detail. Detail is their thing. And they analyze, and they come up with the negative and the positive, and then they present it. So it's their job to analyze and to actually look at everything in great detail. So you're going to have to look at your work projects. Perhaps some things are not working for you. Again, if this comes also from your fifth house, or your house of creativity, if you're bringing creativity into your work projects, you're going to have to analyze the effects, what is working, what is not working, and rework it. Actually really be honest about what is working, what is not, how to move forward. It could also be that in your work place that you're going to be having Virgoan type people coming in. Or you may be undergoing some kind of work review, and now they're going to be looking at everything that you're doing. So it's a good thing, because it actually brings out. You're not going to be glossing over everything. You've got to look at things carefully and come up with a plan. And it could just be another colleague that's coming to work with you, or you're going to be exposed to a colleague who's very Virgo, and they're very detailed, very analytical, and you can learn from that. And you may have to learn to work with them. And if it's to do with your health, if there's an issue that you're dealing with, you've got to look at it critically and analyze for yourself, again, what's working, what's not working for you, come up with a plan, consult others, and find ways to move forward. But it's also about clean living. Be critical about your diet. Be fussy about what you put in your body. And be fussy about your health regime. All of these things, it's always for the highest good. Always be clear and work towards your highest good to bring yourself, because you look after yourself, then you can look after others. You feel good, therefore you project that, and other people respond to that. And you can tackle things in your life. You can handle your work projects better if you're feeling good and if you're looking after yourself. So it's very much be careful, analyze what you're putting in your body, and move on from there. The seventh house, we've got Cancer, which is I feel. So your personal one-on-one relationship, your partnership, it could also be your business partnership. You're feeling very sensitive at the moment. and your communication and perhaps your relationship is going through phases up and down like this, or phases of the moon, because Cancer is ruled by the moon. So some things may be hidden. You may be in a relationship which it could be covert. It could be a relationship that is not known to others. So just between you and your partner, nobody else knows about it. And you're going to be feeling very sensitive in that partnership at the moment. But it's also resilience. But just feel your way forward and actually tune into your sensitivity, because it's a very powerful thing to have in your relationship sign, because it means you're highly attuned, you're highly sensitive to everything that's going on, and you can discern better. And if you need to go within, Cancerians like to go into their shell periodically. If you need to go inward to process, and then move forward from there, then that's what you need to do. But at all times, make sure that you are communicating with your partner in a sensitive manner, and get in touch with your feelings, your deep feelings. Don't be afraid to have a look at them and work through that. So if you're in a love affair and it's moving on now into the 7th house, there are going to be very deep feelings there, very deep emotions, and watery. You're going to be plumbing the depths and coming to terms with what you want, what your partner wants, and moving forward from there. And with the phases of the moon, as I said, that could be having an effect on this relationship and how it's moving forward. And you will go through periods of up and down. You might find that things will change from one period to another as the moon moves around its cycles. As I said, some things may be hidden as well. And if it's a business partnership, then you've also got to look at it from that point of view. Get in touch with your deep feelings and process and actually come to grips with what needs to be said and what needs to be felt. Then in the 8th house, this is the house of sex. So if it's a sexual desire, if it's a relationship that you're in, this is going to come in very strongly for you. This is the fire element. It's desire. It's a very fiery, quick change card. So if it's a romantic relationship which is now deepened into the 7th house, the 8th house is all about the sexual energies between you. Very fiery, lots of changes, perhaps going in a completely different direction altogether. There's change afoot, but it comes from reinvention, feeling yourself deeply, and then moving forward in a new direction with your partner. So this house covers sexual energies between committed partners. It also covers death and rebirth. So we're bringing in the reinvention element again, the feeling element of the 7th house, and then this 8th house. So whatever relationship you were in, the aspects of it have changed. So you've come through something, and you're now in a different landscape altogether. Whether that your partner is leading, or you're leading, or you're doing it as a conjunct, the things will be different. But there's a lot of sexual energy, a lot of fiery, a lot of passion energy there. And just don't go off the deep end and lose track of yourself in that and get carried away. Harness the energies of that, enjoy it, and put those energies to good use. This house also covers, as I said, reinvention from a point of view where something died and something new is coming out. This can also be to do with just yourself in general, embarking on a new path. It could also cover this. The house also covers big finance, like insurance, taxes, legacies, inheritances, and other people's money. So if you're managing other people's money, there's a lot of desire and a lot of energy going into that. Just make sure you're steering it correctly, not getting carried away. And there could be some quick changes going on there, maybe investments, something surges and changes everything overnight. So just make sure that you're harnessing the best parts of that. It's a fiery element, lots of action, lots of movement, lots of passion, lots of energy. And also putting, if it's to do with big finance, make sure that you're redirecting that fiery element correctly. and not doing impulsive things and going off the deep end. Make sure that you're channeling those monies correctly. And also because if you're dealing with money on behalf of others, it's very important always to be in your integrity and to be managing things on their behalf in the highest and best possible way. It could also be bringing in a lump sum or some kind of inheritance or some kind of money which is going to shift things for you as well. But I feel it could be to do with a lot with a relationship currently that you're in, because it's showing up in several aspects of your life, so bringing a lot of passion in there. Then we've got the 9th house, which is to do with long distance traveling. It's opposite the 3rd, which is short distance. This is long distance travel, international travel, anything foreign, imports, exports. If it's to do with the business, it's higher learning, it's religion, it's philosophy. Higher learning being like universities and colleges. It's also to do with the media and publishing and the higher courts. And you've got Uranus showing up there, which is genius. Uranus is the bolt of lightning that strikes. So something very unexpected could come up in this 9th house. So very unexpected. It's very swift, quick change, like a lightning bolt. You could get an incredible idea. You could get an incredible opportunity. You might get a sudden, quick opportunity to travel, or you could get a wonderful publishing opportunity, or just some kind of media platform, or it could be you're bringing these elements, the Uranus, which is genius, into your higher learning, your course of study that you're currently undergoing. You're going to have wonderful access to the incredible power of Uranus to bring about change, or to have incredible ideas about things, or just could be quick changes in general in one of those aspects which I've mentioned. But the genius element comes in, so it's incredible ideas and perhaps liberation from something. So something that wasn't perhaps working suddenly gets a very quick lightning change, and now you're off in a different direction. It's much better. So you're being freed up from what was there before, and you're now literally being shifted very quickly into a new direction. And it could also be to travel, perhaps quick changes there going on, unexpected things happening. So expect change, expect the unexpected, which is Uranus. Then we have the 10th house, which is Scorpio. I transform your, this will be to do with your career, your social standing, and your status in the public status and social status, and fame. So if you're in a position where you are experiencing, you are you're well known, again, there's transformation coming in. It could be to do with your creativity as well, this fire element coming in where you're shifting and changing from one form into another. It's quite dramatic, and Scorpio is again very dramatic. So you're taking your career as it is, or multiple careers if you're doing more than one thing, and you're transforming it. You're actually recreating, reinventing, going in a new direction, using your genius faculties to actually bring this about. So it's going to transform your current social standing as well. So you could go from being just a person doing one thing to now suddenly on a much broader platform where you're exposed to many more people. And this could be unexpected. This is also could be international, foreign people. You're now actually going onto a global stage as opposed to being on a much smaller stage. But the elements of Pluto rule Scorpio. So it's transformative. Whatever is going on in your career and your social standing and your public status is going to be really dramatic and very quick. Possibly as well, taking all these other elements. It may have been brewing for a long time. It might have been something you've been working on for a long time, but you've never actually put it in the spotlight. Now it's in the spotlight, and you're going to be exposing yourself to a much more international platform and changing your direction and using your reinvention abilities. And you're going to be harnessing your Virgoan aspects there to actually harness your work projects. So it's very much a transformative from influence from relationships and also from your career, what you're physically doing, your work projects, if you're juggling more than one thing. So you actually need to apply those transformative abilities to this whole platform. And then leading on from that, we've got the 11th house, which is all to do with your friends, your networks and your groups. So you've got Black Moon Lilith, which covers mystery and transformation as well. So it's coming up. Transformation is coming up literally on your, in your relationships and in your careers and your work projects. Your Black Moon Lilith is something that has perhaps been hidden before is now coming to light. So it could be to do with a friend. There could be a bit of bitchiness going on there, a bit of revenge, a bit of dark feminine coming in where things are moving under the surface that you're not fully aware of, and then suddenly it comes to light. Or it could just be that your networks that you're part of are undergoing a transformation, and things may not have been clear before. And now suddenly the fog is starting to lift a little bit, especially with Scorpio sitting in your 10th house as well. It could just be your networks which are connected to your career is now becoming clearer. You're now actually you now are going to see things. But if it's to do with friendships, you may be seeing something now that you never noticed before, and it might be a little bit uncomfortable for you. You could be in the thick of some kind of issue between your friends, but it's a little bit dark. But it does bring the mystery in, but it can also harness magic for you. So something magical could be lurking, and it could be about to emerge, and it's going to affect your networks, your groups that you're members of, it's going to, it's not a time to give up on your dreams and your hopes and your wishes, which is the other element of this house. It's not a time to give up on that. You've got to stand strong and just weather the storm a little bit there. But you're going to, it's bringing in the elements of transformation and a little bit of mystery and magic. And you could be moving into new circles as well. And also the other thing I'm just thinking about for the 9th house for Uranus. Uranus brings in all advanced tech, any kind of advanced technology, electronics. So for your 9th house, which is affecting the others as well, you could be being exposed to advanced tech or having to grapple with advanced tech to bring about your 9th house desires, which is international travel and your publishing and your media and your higher learning. You're going to be exposing yourself to other, or you're going to be coming into contact with other more advanced tech. And all of these things are spilling over into your transformation of your career and your relationships. Then in your 12th house, you have Pisces, I believe. There's a lot going on subconsciously. This is your subconscious house. It's also the house of all kinds of institutions, whether you're a higher learning institution or whether you're going through any kind of governmental hospital, could even be prisons, any kind of institution. You may be coming into contact with somebody who is going through that, or you're exposing yourself to that. You're working through some government department about something, or you could be visiting hospitals on behalf of somebody else, a friend or somebody. And it's what you learn. It's what you learn while you're visiting those places. It's also your psychic life. So you may be undergoing quite a bit of reorganization, especially when it comes to your relationships. There's a lot of, your 12th house also covers your relationships. It's the unconscious things going on. It could also be, it's the house of endings and new beginnings. So there could be, as again, it's coming up, something is ending and something is being rebirthed out of that. And the Pisces is a very imaginative, lovely sign from an imaginative and appreciation of beauty and using those wonderful psychic abilities. But it can also be a little bit of confusion and not having clear boundaries. So if you're in a relationship where you need to define your boundaries, you need to really go deep within and define for yourself what is going to work, obviously in conjunction with your significant other. You have to work together if you want to move forward into a new landscape. So whatever was there before is now changing. So now you have to move forward into a new way of life in your relationship or even in your career. And there's an element of surrender in Pisces, which is its own 12th house, is its home house. So there's an element of surrender and belief there. So you have to believe that things are going to get better. You're going to have to believe that you're on the right path. If it's a twin flame or a deep soul connection, this is very significant for that. It means that there's a tremendous amount going on, maybe all beneath the surface. There may not be physical evidence of it, but if there is somebody coming into your life, and this feels very much like that kind of connection, a really deep connection, there's going to be a fair amount of surrender and going with the flow there, but not becoming a doormat. You've got to examine your unconscious beliefs, your unconscious drives, and see where perhaps you could be a bit more flexible and meet your person in that sphere. But it does bring in the elements of not having enough boundaries, feeling a little bit confused, and just allowing yourself to be dissolved, if I can put it that. You still have to have a sense of self. So, and going with the flow, which is your sense of self here, don't lose yourself in the connection. Stay strong to who you are, but